Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Amir Ali, and today our topic of discussion is Age of Enlightenment or the Enlightenment, or you can say that Age of Reason, and simply the Enlightenment. It is one of the very important topic of European history which we are studying in this semester. So it is very important to talk about the age of enlightenment, what was the enlightenment, from where it emerged, and why it was called as enlightenment. So starting from the basic that the age of enlightenment, also known as the age of reason or simply the enlightenment, was an intellectual and philosophical movement that dominated the world of ideas in Europe during 17th to 19th century. The Enlightenment movement that emerged from European intellectual and scholarly movement known as Renaissance, which we earlier talked about, that Renaissance was a movement which worked for the revival of knowledge or to think on the rational grounds. So, the Enlightenment included a variety of new ideas and a range of ideas centered on the sovereignty of reason and the evidence of the senses as the primary source of knowledge, and advanced ideals such as liberty, progress, toleration, fraternity, constitutional government, and separation of church and state. And mainly in France, the central doctrine of the Enlightenment philosophers was individual liberty and religious tolerance, and in opposition to an absolute monarchy and the fixed dogmas of the Church, Catholic Church especially. So, the Enlightenment was marked by an emphasis on the scientific methods and reductionism of all the malpractices which were amalgamated into the political, social, and cultural, as well as the religious life of the European people. So, along with increased question of religious orthodoxy and attitude captured by Immanuel Kant's essay, especially his renowned essay answering the question, "What is the Enlightenment?", where the phrase "separate odd" can be found. So that is the Enlightenment movement, and Enlightenment movement basically, as I had earlier talked about, that basically started from 17th to 18th century, and its roots are dated back to the 15th and 16th century, when there was a Renaissance movement in Europe. So it has very strong connection with the scientific revolution. The Age of Enlightenment was preceded by and closely associated with the Scientific Revolution. The Scientific Revolution has heavily changed the life of the European people, and earlier philosophers who work influenced Enlightenment include we can include Bacon and Descartes, and the major figure of the Enlightenment includes Beccaria, Spinoza, Diderot, Kant, Hume, Rousseau, and Adam Smith. On the other hand, there is also contribution of European rulers, especially Catherine II of Russia, Joseph II of Austria, and Frederick II of Prussia. And why they were influencing in Age of Enlightenment or Age of Reason or the simply Enlightenment, because they were trying to apply the Enlightenment thoughts on the religious as well as political tolerance, which became known as enlightened absolutism. So it is a very dominant role of these monarchs in the development of absolute and absolutism and the Age of Reason. How science played pivotal role in the development of education and enlightenment, educating the people about the enlightened ideas. Many enlightened writers and thinkers had background in the science and associated scientific advancement with the overthrow of religion and traditional authority in favor of the development of free speech and thought. Earlier, we have the example of Copernicus and then Galileo, when they challenged the authority of the church. Copernicus has to be perished by the church, and ultimately there was seeking of forgiveness by Galileo when he went against the church, and ultimately he had to burn all of his books. So scientific progress, which was growing towards the development of new age. So at that time, that scientific progress during the Enlightenment included the discovery of various new items, the argument of deep time by the geologists, especially the geologist of America, the James Hutton, and the invention of the steam engine by James Watt. The experiment of Lavoisier were also created in the first modern chemical plant in the Paris, and the experiments of uh, various other scientific inventions were on the way during that Enlightenment age. So, the connection, the scientific revolution showed that nature and the universe could be explained through reason, scientific perception, and with the logic. So, people began to believe that they could explain the working of society and the relationship of people in terms of scientific study. So, here is the basic idea that on which the Enlightenment age was depending. The basic principles of Enlightenment age were religion, tradition, and superstition, limited independent thought, accepted knowledge based on observation, logic, and reason, and they were challenging the faith, the ideas based upon the faith. And so that scientific and academic thinking was primarily based upon the reasoning, the questioning, and thinking. All other factors were also involved in age of reason. There were the sociological factors. Economics were also playing a very dominant role, especially when in 1776 Adam Smith published The Wealth of Nation, which is often considered as the first work of the modern economics, as it had immediate impact on British economics policy that continues into the 21st century. It was immediately preceded and influenced by Robert Turgot, Baron de Laune, drafts of reflection of the formation and distribution of wealth. So Adam Smith acknowledged indebtedness and possibly was the original English translator of reflections of the formation and distribution of the wealth. If we talk about the contribution of sociology or law, so the first person, Kessler Beccaria, was the first jurist, or you can say the criminologist, or philosopher, or sociologist, or the politician, and one of the greatest Enlightenment writers, who became famous for his masterpiece of Crime and Punishment, which was published in 1764. Which that work, the of crimes and punishments, later on was translated into 22 language, in which Beccaria highly condemned the torture and death penalty, and it is the founding work in the field of penology and the classical school of criminology by promoting criminal justice. So another dominant intellectual emerged, whose name is Pagano, who wrote important studies such as Sagi Politico, the political essay, which was published in 1783, which is also one of the important and major works of Enlightenment in Naples, and he is considered as one of the international authorities on international law and criminal law. If we talk about the political aspects of Enlightenment age, the Enlightenment has long been hailed as the foundation of modern Western and political and intellectual culture. The Enlightenment brought political modernization in the West in terms of introducing democratic values and institution and the creation of modern liberal democracies. So this thesis has been widely accepted by Anglophone scholars and has been reinforced by large scale studies by Robert Darnton, Roy Porter, and most recently by Jonathan Israel. So, in that way, the Enlightenment age was highly influenced by the theories of the government, by the theories presented by the Voltaire, Rousseau, John Locke, Montesquieu, and Thomas Hobbes. If we talk about the theories of John Locke, he was one of the most influential Enlightenment thinkers, and his theories based upon the governance, philosophy, and the social contract, the social contract theory as a subject that permeated Enlightenment political thought. And further moving on, Thomas Hobbes ushered in this new debate with his work Leviathan in 1655, which was published in 1655. Hobbes also developed some of the fundamentals of European liberal thought: the right of the individual, the natural equality of all men, the artificial character of the political order, the view that all legitimate political powers must be representative and based on the consent of the people, and a liberal interpretation of law which leaves people free to do wherever the law doesn't explicitly forbid. So that in that way, Locke and Thomas Hobbes, they both developed social contract theories and social discourse. So Locke also is known for his statement that individual has the right to life, liberty, and property. And in this belief that the natural right to property is derived from labor. So in this way, he tried to influence the Enlightenment age, the age of Enlightenment, and he was much important in that sense. Then furthermore, very important French philosophers named as Voltaire. Voltaire basically is considered as the mastermind of French Revolution. He believed in the possibility of social change and reform. So he argued for the religious tolerance, saying that it doesn't require great art or magnificent trained eloquence to prove that Christians should tolerate each other. I, however, am going further. I say that we should regard all men as our brothers. What? The Turk, my brothers; the Chinaman, my brothers; the Jews, the same. Yes, without doubt. Are we not all children of the same Father and creature of the same God? So in this way, he talks about the equality and tolerance in the society and with each other. In this way, the enlightened philosophers, then Montesquieu also influenced the enlightened age. He argued that no single set of law could apply to the people at all aims. So to simplify the laws, to produce the new evidence of the law, he wrote a magnificent work, The Spirit of Laws, in which he talked about the constitutional monarchy, and he believed in the idea of separation of powers and check and balance in between the state pillars. So he borrowed all these ideas from England, where there was the enlightened monarchy. An enlightened monarchy was playing very dominant role in the European lifestyle, in the European culture. So the next important figure who highly influenced the political thought was Rousseau. So he always believed in the general will of the public. He always of the view that majority rule is the will of the people, and majority must exist. In that way, he argues or he propagates about the Western democracies or developed democracies. So in that way, he influenced the Enlightenment age. So on the other hand, the academics, the history of academics in France during the Enlightenment age also played very dominant role, and especially the Academy of Science, which was founded in 1635 in Paris. That Academy of Science was closely tied to the French state, and as acting as the extension of a government seriously lacking in scientists. It helped that Academy of Science helped to promote and organize new disciplines, and it trained new scientists. It also contributed in the enhancement of scientists' social status, considering them to the most useful of all citizens. So the strongest contribution of the French academics or French academies to the public sphere comes from the roughly translated academic contests they sponsored throughout the France. These academies and these academic contests were perhaps the most public of any institution during the Enlightenment. So that practice of contest dated back to the Middle Ages and was revived in the mid 17th century, and the subject matter had been previously generally, it was religious and monarchical, featuring essays, poetry, and painting. However, roughly by 1725, this subject matter had been radically expanded and diversified, and it included royal propaganda, philosophical battles, critical ruminations on the social and political institution of the old regime. Topics of public controversy were also discussed in these contest. On the other hand, theories of Newton and Descartes, the slave trade, women education, and justice in France was also discussed in these contests. So, more importantly, moving on, the contests were open to all and enforced anonymity of each submission, guaranteed that neither gender nor social rank would determine the judging of that contest or that particular writing. Indeed, although the vast majority of participants belong to the wealthier strata of the society, mostly the liberal arts, the clergy, the judiciary, and the medical professors, but there were some popular cases of submitting essays and winning by the low class, or you can say the poor. So, in the Enlightenment age, a significant number of women participated and won the competitions. There were around about 2,300 prize competitions offered in France, and women won around about 49 competitions and emerged as victorious. On the other hand, if we talk about the England, the English Enlightenment, the Royal Society of London also played very significant role in the public sphere and spreading of enlightened ideas or Enlightenment ideas. Basically, that Royal Society of London was founded by a group of independent scientists and given a royal character in 1662. That society played a large role in the spreading of experimental philosophy around Europe and acted as clearinghouse for intellectual correspondence and exchange. The Robert Boyle was very dominant person who playing very pivotal role in the Royal Society of London. So Boyle was, in other sense, a founder of experimental world in which scientists now live and operate, and his method-based knowledge on experimentation, which had to be witnessed to provide proper empirical legitimacy. This is where the Royal Society came into play. Witnessing had to be an collective act, and the Royal Society's assembly rooms were ideal location for relatively public demonstration. However, not just any witness was considered to be credible, and in that way, the educational development or enlightened thinkers they propagated and promoted enlightenment ideas in the Europe. If we talk about the age of American Enlightenment, that American Enlightenment was also based upon the classical writings of Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson, and they were also inspiring American independence towards enlightened ideas, and they were giving the reason to people to think about that what is the Enlightenment and what is the Enlightenment age. So that is the glimpses of Thomas Paine's Common Sense, in which he urged Americans to declare independence. He believed in the Enlightenment ideas, and he also challenged the idea of the king being the ruler. He also propagated that people or masses are basically the real rulers of the state. So, how that Enlightenment shaped independence? As earlier we had talked about, the Enlightenment ideas they propagated to think, to question, to raise a question, and to challenge the authority of other institution like absolute monarchy or absolute orthodoxy of the church. But Enlightenment ideas gave reason to people, and humanism vision, which was developed in the Renaissance, that gave and rise to the people to think about that what they are, where they are, and what they are going to do. So in that way, the Enlightenment ideas, they shaped the government, they forced the people to denounce the slavery, to work for the declaration of independence, to shout their independent status, to work for their own selves, to follow the constitutional monarchy or the enlightened monarchy rather than just absolute monarch and the absolutism of that monarch. So in that way, they propagated the enlightened ideas, which was about the natural rights which everyone has, which was about the social contract which the state has in between the ruler and the ruled one. It was also gossip about, it was also about the talk of separation of power, that everyone must separate his or her powers, the ruler must separate his powers, and he is using powers which are given by the masses. That was the social contract which paved the way for American Revolution, and that was the American Revolution which, based upon humanistic vision, humanism, worked for the Declaration of Independence, and that Declaration of Independence later on forced the masses, forced the enlightened thinkers to draft out new constitution. So in this way, the French Revolution happened. When French Revolution happened, the people, the masses, the bourgeois class, they talk about their rights, they talked about their dependence, they talked about their free will. So the freedom from religion, the freedom from speech, and the civil rights movement led towards the French Revolution. So at the end, we just wind up that the Enlightenment age is the age which talked about, which moved about the masses to think on the rational grounds. It was basically upon all the reasons, all the question, and it basically was highly influenced by the humanism, by the Renaissance, by the John Locke, by the Rousseau. So they influenced the Enlightenment age, and that Enlightenment age was the time when change of modern European society happened.